You are listening to One Happy Podcast, episode 54.
That's part of the fun of getting lost on the island is fun, and you can't get lost if you don't have a car.
Bon dia, welcome to One Happy Podcast, the officially unofficial podcast of the island of Aruba. I'm your host, Curtis Robinson, aka Aruba Kurt.
And I'm Moomba Mags.
And that's Moomba Mags. And once again, we want to thank you for joining us on One Happy Podcast. And today we have a great show planned for you all as we are continuing in our series on planning a vacation to Aruba. And today's episode is going to be all about, renting a vehicle.
Yeah.
And exploring the island, but mostly about renting a vehicle.
Sounds like it's gonna be fun.
Yes, that's something that we still need to do.
Yeah, true. I hadn't even thought about that.
Yes. Trip's getting pretty close.
It is.
Just a few weeks away. So, what was the last episode about, Maggie?
Finding a place to rent.
Yes, so we talked about all about our experience finding villas around the island and trying to shed some light on the process to those who have never been through it.
I hope it was helpful. It was really fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Revisiting old moments, thinking about things that we hadn't thought about in years.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, we have the process down pretty well, so going about it in this manner, trying to spell it out for other people, made me think about some things that we just tend to neglect these days.
Yeah, that we don't really get a chance to do anymore.
And today's episode, we're going to talk about renting a car, which is something that we also have fallen into a pattern.
Mm-hmm.
But this might be the year we break that pattern.
Yeah, it's scary to break a tradition.
Yes. See, normally we rent from Royal, but while they've always served us well, I can't really say that the experiences have been spectacular. So there's always room for someone else to come in and get us as customers.
Right. I mean, what they've done for us is always they got us what we wanted at a price we were comfortable with. So I think we kind of just stuck with that because it fit our criteria.
Yes, and it was nice and easy, an easy transaction. We're kind of used to the people there.
Mm-hmm.
Some experiences have been better than others.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say any of them were phenomenal, and I wouldn't say any of them were bad. So, I mean, it was adequate is what it is. So we're looking to see if there's another company that could possibly raise the bar a little bit.
Yeah, it's funny because, like you say, it's middle of the road. It's not a great experience. It's not a horrible experience. But it's my experience. Like, I know what to expect there. I know I'm not going to get the most luxurious vehicle, but I'm going to get a Jeep and I don't have to worry about banging it through the goat paths or anything. And it's going to be at a price I like. It's very conveniently located. So it's hard to kind of pull away from what you know. And even though I know we plan on it, I still am hesitant to do so.
Yes. And you mentioned a Jeep.
Yeah.
But this time's a little bit different because we're not necessarily looking for a Jeep.
I know.
Yeah, every time we've been on the island, we rented a Jeep so far, but this time we're looking to downsize a little bit just because we don't explore the backside of the island nearly as much as we used to.
Right, we don't. We do like to go to that happy place, and I'm like, ooh, I hope a little car will get me there. But there's a couple reasons why we kind of like the idea of a smaller car.
A Jeep is horrible on gas. Like, we pay a fortune whenever we're tooling around in the Jeep on the island.
Yeah, I never really think about it, but you're right.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know how much, it would cost for us to fill up a tank?
I don't know off the top of my head. I want to say over the course of, what are we usually there for, 8-9 days? Mm-hmm. Maybe we go through about $150 in gas.
Okay. All right. And we try to be a little conservative too. So.
I wouldn't say that.
I thought we did anyway. Conservative for me, I guess.
Yeah, no, we always have the soft top, which just leaks air like crazy, and we always have the AC on full blast.
Well, that's true.
So what we're looking for is, basically our needs have changed. Mm-hmm. So what we're looking for now is a much smaller car. Mm-hmm. But we do have some criteria that we're used to receiving from Royal that we we're still gonna need from whoever we go with this time.
And what's that?
Well, for one, we need to be picked up and dropped off at the airport.
Oh, absolutely, yes. That's a must.
That's very important.
Are there any places that you looked into that don't do that?
No, the places that I looked into all seemed to be okay with that. I didn't look into any places that were actually right at the airport because for one, it costs more, and for two, I just like going with the smaller outfits rather than the large chains like we have here.
Oh, like
the Hertz and the Avis and those guys.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I feel like I'm helping out the economy a little more if I go with a locally owned place.
Yeah, that makes sense. So they're all near the airport,
and
they'll all pick you up and take you back to their agency to and from the airport.
Right, all the ones that I looked at.
Okay.
And well, I mean, we aren't the lightest packers, so even though we are getting a small car, it does need to be large enough to hold our luggage.
Right. Last year, they had to work on our Jeep for a day, and they gave us what was it called that they gave us?
A Picante?
A Picante to use, and it was kind of fun zipping around in that little Picante. But I was thinking that there was no way our luggage would fit into it until we actually had to rent a Chevy Spark back here in the United States, and we actually did fit our luggage in it, right? And we had the same amount we usually take to Aruba.
Mm-hmm.
We did. Okay.
Yeah, and we drove from Atlanta to Pensacola, Florida in that thing.
Right. So, and I was very hesitant. Oh my gosh, when we got to the counter and they told me I was going to be driving in a Chevy Spark for 5 hours, I'm almost 6 feet tall. I said, I'm not going to fit. He didn't remember when we walked up to the counter and the guy said, would you like to upgrade? He didn't even tell us what car we had first.
He just looked at the luggage.
And probably my height too. But
yeah, that too.
He said, no, we'll stick with what we got. And it wasn't bad. It was nice.
Yeah, it's perfectly fine.
So I think
it was actually a lot of fun.
Right. I think that's kind of what helped us make the decision this time that we were going to give it a try.
Right, definitely. Oh, and talking about great on gas mileage.
Yeah.
We spent hardly anything to fill that thing up.
We can zip down to Baby Beach. Oh, I don't know, 6 or 7 times.
A lot of time devoted to traveling to Baby Beach. But anyway, back on track. I mean, that's basically it, right? We want good gas mileage. The AC, I'm looking forward to actually being in a car that's fully enclosed and doesn't leak AC out.
That's true. That'll be nice and cool.
Mm-hmm. So what I did was I went through and I contacted several companies because since we stay in a villa, not all companies rent to people who stay at places other than resorts.
Right.
Like I know Tropic, who has probably one of the best reputations of any company on the island for any service. Mm-hmm. They don't rent to people who don't stay who stay in villas.
Oh, so we couldn't rent from Tropic?
So we wouldn't be able to rent from them now.
Oh, well then. That's rude.
It's their company, their rules.
Yeah, I guess so.
But luckily there were plenty of other places to choose from.
Right.
So what I did was mm-hmm. So what I did was I picked about 8 or 9 different places, and I emailed them all to see if they would rent to people who stayed off property. And to my surprise, all of them actually said that renting off property is fine.
Oh, that's good.
So what I did was I emailed them and I told them the dates we'd be on the island. I told them that we rented a villa in Palm Beach and we were in need of a vehicle. So I didn't specifically ask for a model of car. What I did for the cost portion of this information is I got it off their websites.
Okay.
Because I didn't want to go through the process of actually like leading them to think that I was going to actually book with them. I didn't want to do that to, 9 or 10 different companies. So I wanted to test how their customer service was and things like that before I made any sort of commitment.
And what did you learn?
Okay, so we're going to go company by company. Now, the companies that I chose, I didn't do Royal just because we're used to Royal. We already know pretty much everything about them.
Did you get prices?
I do have prices for them, but I didn't actually contact them because, like I said, we already know that they rent to people off property, so that would have just been a waste of time.
Okay. Hey, one thing I can add, it would be nice to know if you get loyalty discounts at any of these dealerships. Obviously, there's no loyalty yet, but I'm just curious.
Right. Yeah, I'm not sure if Aruba companies are really that big into those types of programs as of yet. Now, the companies that I contacted were Amigo, Smart Rent a Car, Easy Car Rental, Jay's Car Rental, Top Drive, Value Aruba, Supercar Rental, Optima, and More for Less.
Okay.
The first company that I'm actually going to talk about is the one that we've previously used for almost all of our trips.
Okay.
Royal Aruba.
Okay.
So just because we're already familiar with them, obviously they are okay with renting from people offsite. I didn't get response times for their emails because every time that we've contacted them, they were very prompt in getting back to us.
Mm-hmm.
So we just already know that. Now, for the Picante, which is, the small vehicle that we were looking at, for our trip, which runs from, July 12th through July 20th?
Yes.
It's $204 for Picante
Okay.
and $502 for a Jeep.
Okay. That's a good difference in price.
Yes.
We got, $300 we can spend something on? Maybe.
Foods.
Yeah. Or more places to eat.
Yes. I'm always big on that. So yeah, downsizing from a Jeep to a Picante saves us about $300 from Royal.
Okay.
Now let's look at some of the other companies around the island that I contacted.
Okay.
Now the first one was Amigo, and everybody's familiar with Amigo. They run a lot of vehicles on the island.
Yeah, you always see their big emblem on the side.
Yes, it's the cactus with the sombrero.
Right.
Yeah, you see them everywhere.
They do a good business, I guess, because there's a lot of
they do.
there.
Yes. They're always like nice looking vehicles.
Mm-hmm, they are. They're very well kept vehicles.
So when I emailed them, they got back to me really fast. It was only a couple of hours from the time that I sent the email until I got my response.
Okay.
And they were, of course, okay with renting to us, even though we don't stay at a resort.
Mm-hmm.
Now, okay, for a subcompact, it was $233.
Okay, not too much difference.
No, not too much. Not too much at all. For a Jeep, it was a huge difference, though.
How much?
It was $857 for a Jeep.
Wow, that was a huge difference in price.
Yeah. And the only thing I can think of, because I pulled these prices from the website. The only thing I can think of is that they just have newer models.
Yeah.
Than Royal does, because Royal does have the option for you to rent a new Jeep, which obviously costs more.
Usually do that, right?
Right. And if Amigo would have had listed on their website an older model Jeep, then I would have looked at that price. But since they just had Jeep, that was all the information I had to go on.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. Well, that sounds doable. How about some of the other ones?
Okay, so so Smart Rent a Car.
I don't know Smart Rent a Car.
I don't either.
Okay.
I pulled it off the I think visitaruba.com website.
Yeah.
Because they have a whole list of various companies around the island. But the thing is, when I emailed them, the email got bounced back.
Why?
I don't know.
So you never heard back from them?
So I never heard back from them.
Oh, okay.
Now, the website does seem functional, but since customer service is a huge thing, if I send an email to you and it doesn't reach who I'm sending it to, then that's a deal breaker for me.
Yeah. Move on. Next one.
Yeah. No, I honestly didn't go any further with them.
And what name was that company? Smart?
That was a Smart Rent a Car.
Not very smart.
You beat me to it. So the next one was Easy Car Rental.
Okay. I'm not really familiar with that one either.
Me either. Doesn't matter because that email also bounced back.
Oh my God. Maybe they're the same company.
Who knows?
Not very easy.
Because I was already annoyed by the first email they got bounced back, I didn't even bother going to their website to see if I was able to look up prices and everything.
That's really important customer service. Obviously you can't really get anywhere if they're not going to respond by email, but customer service is important to everybody, and a quick response, like you'll always remember that Amigo was the first one to get back to you. That's how much customer service means.
Right.
So let's scratch easy and smart off the list.
Yep. Not very easy and not very smart.
All right, what's our next option?
The next one was Jay's Car Rental.
Jay's is by Royal, isn't it?
Jay's is right across the parking lot from Royal.
Okay. All right. Well, we know it's convenient.
Yes, we know exactly where it's located, which can sometimes be a problem.
we'll pull up. We'll pull up there, and they'll be standing over at Royal, staring at us like, "Oh, guys,
Probably.
wrong
No,
place."
Jay's is relatively new, so that's probably why we didn't. We were already in our royal groove before they even started operating.
Okay. Well, tell me a little bit about Jay's.
Okay, so Jay's, they returned their email in 3 hours. It took.
Okay.
So that's
So, are
pretty
you
good.
listing these in order of how quickly they responded?
I am not. They're in random order.
Okay. I was just wondering.
Right.
Trying to keep up here.
And obviously, off property is fine, which it was with all of these. So for our trip, it works out to be $205.
Okay.
So that's right in line with
Same
Royal.
as Royal, yeah.
$1 difference.
Mm-hmm.
And all these costs, none of them include like license plate fees or taxes.
Uh-huh.
And for a Jeep, it costs $514.
Oh, so they're very clear. I guess they have to be pretty much in line.
You have to be.
The company that's like right across the parking lot with them.
Right, definitely.
Now, did their
So
website say the Jeep was new? Or it didn't say? Just said Jeep.
It didn't say, it just said Jeep.
Okay.
So I'm assuming that they're in, pretty standard condition for an Aruba Jeep.
Mm-hmm. Hey, that doesn't matter to me.
I don't know for a fact, but I would assume that Jay's and Royal, since the prices are similar, probably have similar condition vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
Unlike the next one on my list, who, whenever I see their vehicles, they always seem to be brand new.
Oh, I bet I know who you're talking about.
If you had to guess, who would you say?
Top Drive.
Top Drive. Every time I see a Top Drive vehicle, it's always brand new.
Looks like it's brand new, yeah.
I think they have people that just go around the island and like wash the vehicles too.
You head out to the beach, and the next thing you know, you come back and you're like, "Hey, the car's cleaner."
Right. Like cruise ship cabin stewards, how every time you leave the room.
Right.
Okay, so Top Drive. Now they took the longest to get back to me, which was kind of disappointing.
Mm-hmm.
They took just about 24 hours, which I mean, it's still not horrible, but whenever you have these other places getting back to you in just a matter of hours, it leaves you wondering.
Right. They don't have to get back to you so quickly, maybe.
Maybe that's what it is. So for a subcompact for them, it's $258.
So the highest of the ones you've listed so far.
Right, the highest of them, but still not outrageous by any stretch. Especially when you consider the condition of their vehicles.
Right.
And for a Jeep, it was $797.
Okay. So not as bad as Amigo on the Jeep price, but they look beautiful.
Right. Yeah, they do. Here's something I noticed on their website, which if anyone from Top Drive is listening, probably not. But if anyone from Top Drive is listening, you might want to look into this. Because I saw to rent one of those Can-Am UTVs, which is the off-road vehicles.
Right, yeah.
For our trip, if we were to rent one of those for the duration, which no one would do, but if you were to rent one for the duration, it had it listed as $7,260.
Holy moly.
Right.
Maybe it is that much.
I'm thinking it had to be some sort of a glitch.
I hope so.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. So I mentioned that it took nearly 24 hours, and I said that was the longest time it took to get back to me. Mm-hmm. Well, that wasn't true.
Why?
Because the next one, which is also a very well-known company, I emailed them and they never get back to me.
Who was that?
Now, granted, I emailed them 2 days ago, but I mean, if you didn't get back to me in 2 days, then chances are I'm assuming you're not getting back to me at all.
Right, and by then, a lot of people probably would have already made up their mind.
Exactly. Because, I mean, you're in competition for my money.
Yeah, and you said you contacted 9 companies. I'm sure there are more to contact, and then the ones that you said you didn't contact, like Hertz, Avis, and things like that. There's a lot of competition on the island. 2 days is a long time to take.
It is a long time. Although, I mean, this company doesn't seem to be hurting for business at all.
Who is it?
More for less.
Oh, yeah. You see them around a lot, too.
Now, More for Less charges $228 for a small vehicle and $600 for a Jeep.
All right, so they're a pretty good Jeep price.
Yeah, I mean, the prices are fine, and their vehicles always look like they're in, pretty fair condition.
They're in good condition, but I'm sorry. Poor customer service doesn't get my business.
No, it doesn't. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and say that they were just so inundated with emails that we got lost in the shuffle.
Yeah, maybe they're just that busy. Good for them.
4,000 emails hit them all at the same time, and they just missed
You
us.
do see a lot of them on the island, so maybe that's true.
Mm-hmm. But for the purposes of this study, that eliminates
Right.
them. Okay, so now we have another one that I'm not really familiar with called Value Aruba.
I've heard of it.
Okay, you have?
So yeah.
They took the third longest, so they took also nearly 24 hours.
Okay.
I think Top Drive was like 22 hours. They might have been like 21 hours.
Okay.
So for them, for a compact car, it's $251,
Mm-hmm.
and for a Jeep, it's $680.
So
pretty much middle of the road.
yeah, not a great value for the nature.
No. Right? I like the way you worked that in there. So what's next? Another one that I wasn't really familiar with, but they seem to have their stuff together. They got back to me really fast. Their website seems pretty up to date, which is something that's lacking amongst Aruba businesses' websites, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Supercar rental, they're called.
I've never heard of that.
I never have either. The rates for supercar rental would be $257 for a car that's the similar size to the ones that we were looking at, and $565 for a Jeep.
Not bad.
Not bad. No, not bad at all.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And I don't know how new they are, but like I said, they got back to me fast. Their website seems pretty nice, and their prices aren't bad. So I can see them sticking around for a little while.
Okay. Anybody else?
Yes, one more on our on this list, and that's another popular company. I haven't seen their vehicles all that much, but I don't know how well marked they are, because some rental car companies, they put huge signs on their vehicles, and other ones not so much.
Royal doesn't put a large sign on theirs.
No. And personally, I prefer it that way.
Yeah, so do I.
Because it's bad enough that you already have that vacationer license plate on your car.
Right.
You don't really need another Target painted on your car.
True.
So Optima.
Oh, okay.
And Optima is very popular amongst the Facebook groups.
So a lot of
like I said,
like it?
Yes.
What do they say they like about it, you know?
I heard great things about their service. I mean, that the people are just like super nice. The prices are affordable. And there's just so many people that talk about them that I gotta imagine that it's true.
Okay, well that piques my interest. What were their prices?
The prices are reasonable. I mean, for the small car like what we're looking for, $224.
Okay.
I didn't see a Jeep on their website.
So maybe they don't rent Jeeps.
Right, and that's how Tropic is as well. Tropic doesn't rent Jeeps; they rent small cars to people.
Okay.
One thing, Optima was the only company of these when I asked about renting to people who aren't staying in resorts. They said they do, but they said as long as the property has a safe driveway.
Oh.
Now, I'm not sure what a safe driveway means exactly.
Yeah, they mean
I don't know if it has to be behind a locked gate. Yeah. Because, I mean, we have a nice carport, but it's not behind a locked gate.
Right. We have stayed at places with locked gates. It could be that.
It could be that. And I would have to get clarification for that if we were to choose that.
Okay.
Actually, I think I might get clarification just because.
Mm-hmm.
Because other people might be curious about it.
Yeah, because I was interested in the fact that they had an up-to-date website and things like that, and you said people rave about them. I was kind of like, oh, I'd kind of consider going with that, but who knows, we might not be able to. So that's definitely something you would want to look into.
Mm-hmm. And also, like I said, or I don't know if I mentioned it, but their customer service was pretty good. They got back to me in just a few hours.
Oh, okay. So that's good. I would lean towards them as long as our driveway works. Most of the places, would you say they ranged from around 220 to 260?
You had two that came in around 205, which would be Royal and Jay's.
That's why you take the show notes, so I don't have to.
Yes. So yeah, Royal and Jay's there around 205, and it went all the way up to the 250s, which would be like Supercar Rental, Value Aruba, and Top Drive. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then you had a couple right in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, like I said, customer service is huge. The cars themselves, I haven't really seen rundown compact cars on the island. I mean, when you see rundown vehicles, they're usually Jeeps from getting beat up.
Right. One important thing is hearing what other people think of them. Because I think
Definitely.
reading reviews is always a good way to go. I think we love to read reviews. Although when you get on those websites like TripAdvisor, stay away from the really, really bad ones because they'll really negate the good ones.
Right.
And then you start getting really confused as to who you want to go with.
Well, I'm not sure if TripAdvisor does car rental.
I'm sure there's places you can find out what people's opinions are of companies.
Well, personally, I like word of mouth more than anything.
Where do you go to get the information for word of mouth?
Facebook groups are probably the easiest because I mean, you just put the question up there and then everyone fights over trying to hype up their particular, their preference. Yeah. But what I will say is that someone that I interviewed on the previous podcast did say Optima was their go-to. That's what stuck out in my mind, which made me contact them to begin with because I trust this person. I mean, more so than the other people in the Facebook groups because I have had that interaction with them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's funny because I said Optima sounded like the one I would go with as long as our driveway was okay.
So maybe I will look into them.
Can I ask you a question?
You can ask me whatever you want.
I don't know if you have the answer for this, but for us, it might actually be nice to maybe rent a Jeep for one day. How much did you look into how much these places would cost for a Jeep rental by day?
No, I have not, because I didn't think of that at the time. Although it does make sense. I wonder if I'd be able to roll into some sort of a package, where it's like, okay, I'm renting a vehicle from you for 8 days.
Yeah, and one day I want to have a Jeep.
One day I want to bring in my subcompact and I want to pick up a Jeep for the day. What can you do for me?
Yeah, I think that sounds like a great idea. We have to look into that.
Yes, I think that's the direction that we'll lean into because I can't see not having a Jeep for any of it.
I know, it's really hard to think about not having a Jeep. So, but if I knew I was going to have one for a day, it would ease me into the subcompact car.
Right, definitely. So yeah, I'll look into that, and I will factor in who offers me a sweet deal.
Okay.
But I think this exercise allowed us to eliminate certain companies from the conversation.
It sure did.
Like, truth be told, I mean, you have the couple that didn't get back to you, so they're out already.
Right.
And as much as I do like the look of Amigos vehicles, the fact that their Jeep is $857 as what's listed on their website, that's $60 more than Top Drive.
Right.
And I can't say that Amigos vehicles are any nicer than Top Drives.
No, absolutely not. Not that what I've seen.
Right. So Amigos probably out. And more for less. I mean, I don't know, because I've seen them so many times on the island that I do want. It's like I want to believe that we just somehow got lost in the shuffle.
Yeah, but I don't know about giving anybody a second chance.
True.
Like there's so many other options out there. I would put them on my list too. Okay,
so more for less is also out. So that leaves us with Top Drive, Jay's, Value Aruba, Supercar Rental, Optima, and our old standby Royal.
Right. I think I want to just branch off from Royal just because, you know what, if I'm not getting, my Jeep this time for the whole time that I'm there, I just want to try something different.
Okay, sounds good.
So if I was going for something along the lines of Royal, maybe I'd try Jay's. So maybe I'd keep Jay's on the list for now.
Okay, so those are the ones that we'll keep on the list.
Okay.
Now, not everyone that goes to Aruba rents a car, and I get that. We like it for various reasons. And if you've never rented a car in Aruba, maybe you do want to give it a try because there are some benefits to having your own transportation on the island.
For sure.
You want to name a few of them?
Well, top of the list, I can drive down to Baby Beach if I want to.
Right. I love the drive. I love the exploration that happens on our way down. Because we always stop off at different places, and
you get to go to different places to eat, maybe off the beaten path and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and if you're headed to Baby Beach and you decide to take a detour into San Nicolas and stop at Charlie's Bar, it's your preference.
Yeah, or not even, you don't even have to have a destination that you're going to. Just wander around the island through the various neighborhoods because they have different personalities, you
Yeah.
know?
I love that. We leave the beach sometimes and we're not really ready to head back to the house to get changed to go out for the evening. So we just take off on a little drive and check out some of the neighborhoods.
You stumble onto some pretty incredible things.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of your favorite things that you stumbled onto? Oh, I know one.
Well, I know my favorite thing I've stumbled onto. Which, I mean,
What's
one
that?
might say it's not really stumbling onto it because it's right there along the coastline. But our happy place. We stumbled onto that just driving, because we wanted to see the sunset. And we saw the spray
By
of water.
Arashi.
Yeah, we saw that spray of water shooting up into the air. I mean, so now we go back there all the time.
Just pull out some chairs and sit there with a camera and watch the sunset.
Right. Second on my list would probably be the Aruba Animal Shelter.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a lot of trouble finding that.
Yes, but now that you know where it's at, it's like impossible not to find.
Yeah, I think we passed it once and didn't even realize we had passed it.
Probably. Probably.
But that would be high up on my list.
Mm-hmm, definitely.
And then just the backside of the island, just driving it on your own, at your own pace, doing whatever you want to do. That's really fun.
Yes, if you want to have fun on a unguided tour, what you do is you get up early in the morning, pack yourself a lunch, grab a bunch of water because, it can get hot out there, and start off at Alta Vista and watch the sunrise.
Yeah, you got to start with the sunrise.
Yes, because, that'll just start your day off in probably the most perfect way imaginable.
Mm-hmm.
And chances are it won't be a clear sunrise. It'll be cloudy, but it'll still be spectacular and so peaceful.
If you're us, that's for sure. It won't be a clear morning.
Right. Yeah, definitely not. But it's still beautiful and so peaceful early in the morning. So you want to start off there and you just make your way down and around the island at your own pace, at your own convenience. And you stop off where you want, when you want. You have lunch with you. You have plenty of water with you. So, there's little beaches along the way that you'll just have all to yourself.
Lots of photo opportunities.
Lots of photo opportunities, but do be careful of the water because, you're on the wild side of the island and things can get treacherous over there. So, we don't usually go into the water over there any more than maybe like ankle high. But just being able to sit on a beach that's all yours and eat a sandwich or, whatever is just peaceful. So, yeah, get a vehicle and find your own little bit of Aruba.
Anything else that I forgot to come up with that you like having the vehicle for?
Yes.
Oh, what's that?
Well, you mentioned eating at restaurants off the beaten path. I like the Tia Rosa snack truck down by the Post Chiquito Circle. That's love that
place.
Mm-hmm. And I also love that bakery.
Ooh, yeah, the bakery. Oh, we had a hard time finding that too. And it's so funny because everything we have a hard time finding, which is actually part of the fun, because you get so many memories from getting lost and backtracking. But it's funny because once you discover where the place is, you think, gosh, that was pretty easy and it was right under my nose the whole time. That's part of the fun of getting lost on the island is fun, and you can't get lost if you don't have a car.
That's right. What would you say is the easiest way to get to that bakery?
Well, you go down past Zayrovers. So if you can get yourself to Zayrovers, you just pass there. You're going to go on a road that's going to kind of curve completely around, almost in the shape of a U, and then it kind of goes up a hill and then curves back to the right, and it's right there at the top of the hill.
Yes, but the thing is, you won't see it unless it's after 4:00, because before that, it's not going to be open.
True.
But once it is open, there's going to be a line of people. There were some police officers down there.
Just look for the police cars, and you'll know you found the place.
One thing about police officers, they always know where the good food is.
Yeah, that's true.
So if you see a police officer eating at a place, then you know that they have the goods.
Mm-hmm. Hey, since we're talking about it, if you go to the bakery, get the Luempias. They are delicious. And at the bakery, I'm thinking, the donuts, the pastries, that's going to be the best. And they could be, but their Luempias, I know where I'm going the first day we get there.
Right. Yeah, I want to put in an order for 2 dozen. Just keep them in the
Right.
fridge. So can you think of any other reasons why someone would want to rent a vehicle? I mean, the independence, that's a major reason.
Yeah, and everything else kind of stems from that. It's just the ability
Yeah.
to go where you want, when you want, or not to go where you want and just hop in the car and drive.
Yes, we like to beach hop. So, I
Right.
mean, on any given day, we'll be at, 2, 3 different beaches. We might start the day at Arashi, then head down to Eagle,
Yeah, you just brought
grab lunch at Bugaloo at Palm, and then end up at Arashi again for the
yeah,
sunset.
you just brought up a great reason. Have you ever been on, say, Manchego Beach, and it's a rough surf kind of day, and you can't really get in the water or you can't stay in the water, and you leave that beach and you go up to, say, Palm or Arashi, and it's nice and calm and it's totally different. So it gives you the opportunity to, get away from something, and go do something else.
Yeah, I can't imagine not having a vehicle, even if it was just for a day,
Right.
We don't stay at resorts. If we did stay at resorts, we'd probably want to make full use of the resort grounds. But even so, I would still get a vehicle for a day or two.
I still like the opportunity to move around where I want, when I want.
Exactly. So on the next episode of One Happy Podcast,
Yes.
we are going to be looking into packing.
Packing, I got to do that soon. I know you probably already started, right?
Sure.
Yeah, that was.
So we're gonna be looking into the necessities that you're gonna want to bring down. We're also gonna look at what you have to get when you rent a place to stay, because the fact that we're renting a house down there are certain things that we're required to buy, or we won't have them.
True.
Yeah, we don't have the luxury of having a resort that furnishes these things. So we're gonna have the shopping list of things that we pick up from Ling's or Superfood.
And if we're renting a little car, that list changes a little bit because we've got to only get what we need because we'll have our luggage in our little car.
Yes, because we like to pick up groceries on our way from the airport. Although I have a feeling that'll change this trip down.
Things like that.
Yes, Brights, Balashi Chill, things like that. The necessities. So all of that will be on the next episode of One Happy Podcast, so make sure you tune in. And if you haven't listened to the previous parts of this series, then make sure you go back and do that. They are episodes 52 and 53. So we talked about a lot on this episode, but if you missed something, don't worry about it, because as always, I take the notes so you don't have to.
That's right.
And they can be found at onehappypodcast.com/EP54. Now, onehappypodcast.com is the flagship for all things podcast related. So make sure you head on over there because there's a lot of cool things going on. I just recently published an article about 9 food-centric ways to save money in Aruba. And there's also the resource page, a sign-up form for a mailing list. So make sure you get on that mailing list so you can find out all the information going on about the podcast and also information about other things happening on the island of Aruba. It's a pretty valuable resource, and it's completely free. Speaking of free, make sure you subscribe to the podcast in whichever app that you use, the Google Play app, iTunes, or Stitcher. And you can find all that information over at onehappypodcast.com. It's as simple as clicking a button, and every episode will be delivered to you as soon as they're released. So I guess that's everything, Maggie.
That's Moomba Mags.
So I guess that's everything, Moomba Mags. So as always, I want to thank you guys for joining me, but I'm going to let you get out of here, okay? So until next time.
Hey, Aruba Kurt.
What?
Hit the music.
Okay, hit the music.